Good morning, friends. Hello, hello. This is Grace here at the Comfy Nest with Grace, getting ready to do a sweet little project for Essential Stencil. If you come on, I want you to say hello. We'll be giving away 3 sets of stencils today during the live broadcast. We do this every day, Monday through Thursday, every week, and then sometimes Fridays we have somebody here too. So make sure you get on the text alert. Make sure that you get on their email list so that you get the weekly schedule of the different brand ambassadors doing all these fun, fantastic projects and showcasing the stencils. Today, I'm using this sweet little set called Be Still 3-pack. So I'm going to use this set. You can order this or anything else that you want from essentialstencil.com using my code, The Comfy Nest, to get 10% off. Hi, Coco. Hi, Deb. She says, hello from beautiful Western Iowa. Hello, hello. Thanks for saying hello, guys. I'm going to swipe these comments away over here. I'm going to watch them, but I'm going to do it over here on my iPad. It just makes it easier for me to see. It's closer, and I can reach it better than the camera that I'm using on my phone to broadcast from. So give me a minute to do that. So yeah, this is the set I'm going to use today. I think this is the message we all need right now. Oh my goodness. Things are just a little cuckoo bananas in the world, and at least in my world. So I feel like this is just a year-round, such a nice positive message. This set comes with 3 6x6 stencils. It comes with this one. Let me open it up because I'll have to take them out anyway, and I'll show you all 3. That's the one I'm going to use today. It also comes with Be Still and Know, and that one comes with the little sprigs, you can see, and then Grace Upon Grace. All really sweet. These make like sweet little like affirmations to have up in your house year round, or in your office or camper or wherever you are. But they also make great little gifts, and I'm going to design on this cute little like chunky block. It's a palette board, so it has 4 little palette board panels, and I love working with palette board panels because it's just a really fun way to highlight and use them to decorate with paint. And today I'm going to use paint and paper. So I gotta try to grab this live feed. Here we go. Found it. So I can grab these comments, guys. So I want to be able to chat with you while I'm live. That just makes it so much more fun. Hey, Sandy from Tennessee. Now I'm seeing you guys. Hi, Linda. Thank you for sprinkling. Thank you, thank you. Carol says hi from Michigan, Southwest Michigan. Amber's in Michigan, too. Hey, Miss Jenna from down south. Hello, hello. Tammy sprinkled. Thank you. All right, so this is the little chunky board that I'm using. Again, I'm a huge fan of reversible. So I feel like you could reverse this, do like a little shadow box, like an open shadow box in here, or do something on this side, or both. I'm going to do this side today. Now listen, last night I was live on my own business page, The Comfy Nest with Grace. I would be honored and just so pleased if you went over there and followed my page too. I did this set. I did that square last night, that 12 by 12, and then above it, the 3 trees. I did that set using this paper stack that I got from Michael's, and I'm going to continue the little collage, the little collection. I used this paper stack. So here are the 3 pieces of paper that I used to create my trees last night. You can see them. You can see my cutouts for my trees on these 3 pieces of paper. So I'm going to use this paper to create and decorate the board with some paint, and then I'm going to paint on top of it the stencil. So that's what we're creating today. Super sweet, little cute project, not too involved. Hello, Nancy in Minnesota. Hi, Kristen in Delaware. I got family in Delaware. Hello, hello. All right, so let's get started. I just poured another cup of coffee, guys. Just made another cup. So who are my coffee drinkers out there? If you're a coffee drinker, say hello, let me know you're there. Okay, so my thought, here are my papers. When you work out of a paper stack, that all comes together. Everything's coordinated. So that's the nice thing. You can create like a collage of things all using the same papers. And usually, well, like in this stack, you get like 4 of each sheet. There's 24 designs. Oh, no, not quite. You get a couple of each sheet. So like every single snowflake pattern, you get 2 of each. There's a little wreath. This one has some greenery. Those are little turtle doves. What I did was, there's the stars, there's the snowflakes that I used. The nice thing about these, there's some stripes that I really do love, actually. They're gray. I was going to use this, but changed my mind. I pulled one of those out and then changed my mind. So here, this is what I used to create the four things that I already have. And then I'm going to, sticking with the same papers, I'm going to create this little project now. Okay, so everything will be coordinated. I can collage them all together on one side of my mantelpiece or in my living room in different places, and you have a completely like coordinated look. So there's a little crafty tip for you today. Okay, you are guaranteed when you're hanging out with me, crafty tips galore and complete wonkiness. And that's just the way it goes with me, because you never know what's going to happen in my house. Lorraine says, I love my coffee. I love my coffee too. Maureen says, I used your decoupage trick to make door text and Dollar Tree boards. I love all your tips and tricks. Yay! Thank you for saying that. Maureen, that just gives me the encouragement to keep going and to keep sharing. So thank you for telling me that. It means a lot. I know it seems like a simple thing to say, but thank you. I appreciate you bringing it up. Hi, Judy in Texas. Aren't they pretty? These papers. A few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, Michaels, I got them from Michaels. They had a huge section with all these Christmas paper stacks, paper books, and they were buy 2, get 1 free. So I bought 3 sets, and it's nice because they're all coordinated. So it's great for making like coordinated gifts or whatever you want to do. Usually on these, when I do a palette board project, there's 4 panels on here. I usually do 1 with the decorative paper and then paint the others. And between the 3 of these papers, this has like a sparkly hologram snowflake on it that's rather large. It's actually my little palette sections are a 1.5 inch, and these snowflakes are bigger than that. So this isn't a good option to put on one of my little panels. So I'm going to put that one aside. As much as I love that, that's not a good option. Same thing with the houses. I could fit them, but some of the houses are bigger than 1.5 inches. I'm going to cut a piece of this and see what I can do with it. The board is 6 by 6, but each little panel is 1.5. So I need a 6 by 1.5 little panel of the paper to see if I can fit it on there and how it'll look. So I'm going to start by cutting that off. I have to fussy cut the houses. I don't have to fussy cut the stars. The stars can go any which way. There's no real like up and down on this. But the houses need to be fussy cut, right? So if I want a 1.5 inch strip, I want to see what I'm getting in that 1.5 inches so that when it's on my board, it makes sense. So what I use is I use my quilt rulers because they're see-through and they have all the measurements on them, and it makes it really easy for me to see when I want to fussy cut it, to see what it is that I'm going to get on my little 1.5 by 6 inch panel. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to start with that. I know I have tape all over this. What's nice about these too, like if you flip this around on one side, it gives you the 1 inch marks, like everything's in 1 inch. But if I flip it around, it gives me the 1.5. And 1.5 is exactly what I need. I need a 1.5 inch panel. So if I just focus on this one top bar, that's exactly what's going to show on my board if that's what I cut. And I can get a cute little Christmas house scene with this. I can do it, girls. I can do it. I like this one right here because I get 3 houses and a tree. So it's actually about an inch and a half down from the top of the paper. So I'm going to grab, let's see, how far away is my rotary cutter? Yay, it's right here. I'm going to grab my rotary cutter. I treat this just like fabric, like when I used to quilt. I don't quilt anymore. I love working on fabric projects. When we moved to this house, this craft room is like 1/3 of the size, if not smaller than the one I had in the other house. And I had to put my sewing machine away. My sewing machine used to be up and available to me year round, and it's not anymore. Boo-hoo. Because just because the room's too small. So when it was up year round, I used to work with fabrics a lot more, and now I just can't. Just can't. I don't have the space. My sewing machine is nearby. It's just in the cupboard right there, but it is really a pain to take it all out. Now I need 6 inches, so I'm going to use my ruler at the 6-inch mark. I'm going to line up. I'm going to get a perfect line if I use the marks on my ruler. So I have 1.5 by 6 to cut. These rulers are really handy, and so are these boards that have all those measurements on them. So here we go. I have my 1.5 inch by 6, and you can see the little houses and trees. That's what I wanted. Hey, that light's too bright. Hold on, girls. Every single time I go live, my light's too bright, and then you can't see. The nice thing about these papers too, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it there. Oh yeah, see in the snow underneath the house, it has that hologram glitter in it. But see, I did get like a little scene there. So decoupaging this on would be super cute on just one of the panels. And then let's decide, should we do the stars too? So there's one. I think I'm going to do 2 panels. I'm going to do one with stars, one with the houses, because then it's totally coordinated with all my trees and all the other stuff I have behind me. So I'll have a coordinated little set of things to decorate with. Or they would make great gifts too. Oh, I am so behind. So behind on the comments. Oh, thanks. So very cute, Cindy says. Yes, the ruler and board is such a time saver, Sue. I totally agree. Totally agree. Thank you for all of you that are sprinkling. Thank you, Deb, for the stars. You're a sweetheart. Hi, Robin in South Dakota. I'm in North Dakota. Yeah, these are made for fabric. I use them all the time for paper now. All the time for paper. I use it for burlap. I use it for anything. It's really easy to buy new blades for it if you need to get them updated. All right, I need 1.5 by 6. This I don't have to fussy cut. It can be any section of this paper that I can use. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do the 1.5 inch strip first. It's just more efficient with my paper. I'm going to cut me a 1.5 inch strip all the way across. That will preserve as much of this big chunk for use for something else. So now that I have this 1.5 inch strip with that funky edge, I'll cut that off. And that'll give me another strip for my palette board panels. So I'm lining up the paper with my see-through ruler. That'll make sure that you get straight lines, girls. That's how the quilters do it. I'm just using it on paper instead. All right. I do have a place where I can store that ruler. I hope it may crash, boom, bang. So if you hear a big bang, that happens all the time here at the Comfy Nest. Don't you worry. I think I'm going to put the houses. So I'm going to paint panels and I'm going to put the paper on panels. I think I'm going to put the stars up in the sky. I'm going to put the houses kind of in the middle and I'm going to paint the other 2 panels. So I think I'm going to paint first and then we'll decoupage. Now, paint colors. Here's the theme. This has gray, very soft grays and white. This has lots of greens with gray and white. Okay, so on my board, you have to think about color scheme in terms of what's going to let your stenciled letters show up the best. Okay. I want to use desperately because it's one of my favorite colors. This green, which is Annie Sloan green, or Annie Sloan chalk paint in the color olive. It goes perfectly with my trees and stuff. But I don't want this on the background because I don't think that the stenciling will show up if I try to put white on top of this with my 2 little panels, my decorative panels of paper. So with my decorative panels of paper on my board, I chose white and gray. So I'm gonna have 4 different little panels on my palette board, a white, a gray, and then 2 decorative paper ones. Okay, so that's the plan. So I think I'm gonna put this here. I think I'm gonna put this here. I think I'll do this one white like snow, maybe that one gray. Let's just try it. We're gonna start painting and see what comes up. And then on top of this, we're gonna stencil. So it's just creative and fun to come up with different combinations and with decorative papers, because decorative papers are so fun and pretty, right? So fun and pretty. So let's just get some paint on here. Listen, I am not about perfection. You guys, you're going to learn if you've watched me for a hot minute. I am not about perfection. I'm going to put a really light coat and see if I can get some of that wood grain to show through it actually, so it doesn't look like the paint is like caked on there, just like a wash almost. A little more than a wash, a dry brush, a little more than that. So you see what I mean? I painted the white on there, but you can still see the wood, the like pine knots and the wood grain, those little curves. Okay, you can see the little nail holes. I like it. I like the nail holes. I like the curves in the, you know, the wood showing. I picked a very, very light misty gray color. These are both apple barrel for the top panel. Oh, hi kid. My 15-year-old, I asked him to check in when he got home. I wanted to know that he was home. So I just got a little pop in from a 15-year-old. Okay, now I have to remind myself. I was gonna do this, so it's like every other. Okay, and actually this gray is even darker than I want it. I may add a little bit of white to this. And I don't want full coverage. I don't know why. I mean, I just feel like it's gonna be really rustic looking. I may add just a tish of white to that, just to just make it a little bit lighter. I know, same paintbrush going in the cap to pick up a little bit of white. Yep. While it's still wet, I'm going to blend a little bit of white into that gray so that it's not so dark. Okay. I still feel like it's a little dark. Okay, I'm going to put the gray away. I'm going to add more white. Gonna add some more white. Because I'm using so little paint, I'm not even taking out a paint palette. I'm just coming right from my container. And I don't know if you can see, I'm adding more white while the gray is still wet to brighten it up a little. Because remember, I'm going to stencil on top of this. So whatever I stencil, and I'm going to use that dark green, I want it to show up well. So I need to make sure that the color tones, that the colors that I pick, that they work together well. If I pick too dark of a gray, then the green lettering on top isn't going to show up real well. Okay, I'm going to take the hairdryer to this and let this dry for a second. See if I like it. I might sand it down a bit and take it from there. All right, let's see what comments I'm missing. Uh-oh, there they go. Amanda says, I can't wait to see the end. It's going to be so cute. That's the funnest part, right? The big reveal. I added a lot of paint, a lot of layers of paint on this top one, so it's a little bit damp. And I need that to dry because I want to sand that down just a little bit down to the raw wood a little more. And you can pick whatever papers. You don't have to use papers. You could use tissues. You could use tissue paper, gift wrap for your little sections here, your decorative sections, or you could use all paint. You don't have to use papers. I want this little thing that it's like a little shelf sitter. I want it to coordinate with the trees and that 12 by 12 panel that I have behind me. So that's why I'm doing it that way. I usually leave them bare. I leave my sides bare. So here are my trees. I've got bare wood on the sides and then the decorative paper on the front. I usually use them bare. Again, you'll hear me say this. Oh, I don't want that to fall. Stay still. You'll hear me say this about a gazillion times. Like I say it all the time and I mean it in the nicest way. You do you. Like if you want your sides painted, then paint them. My house has a lot of natural wood elements in it and the natural wood matches really well with my home decor. If you don't like it and you want it to be more modern looking, then go ahead and paint them. There's no right or wrong. It's just which is your preference. Now I'm going to take a little sandpaper. I'm going to sand the gray down a little bit. I'm going to do it over the garbage so I don't make a mess. I'm pulling back. I want to pull back some of that paint. Okay, the color's lighter like I wanted it, but now I'm pulling it back so that I get some of that wood. That looks awesome. I actually think I'm going to do it to the white too, and I'll show you here in a second. I'm pulling back so that more of the natural wood shows through. There. And the nice thing about that, it really smooths your paint down. All right, check that out. So I went back, took some paint off so that you see more of those natural wood grains coming through. Okay, now we're on to Mod Podge. We are going to use, you can use any decoupage medium. Decoupage, basically a glue. You can use this as a sealer on top. You can use it as a glue to hold something onto your board or whatever you're using. It doesn't have to be a board. I just need a tiny bit. This is the brush I was using last night on my trees. Nice and dry now. I don't need a lot, but I do like my Mod Podge watered down just a little bit. I'm gonna grab a bunch of this and I am gonna put it on the plate I was using last night. Just so I don't have gobs of it. It's kind of like stenciling. I don't want gobs and gobs of it on here when I go on my panels. I just want a little bit. And it doesn't matter if you get a little bit on your paint. So don't worry about going over because, oh, I have like a little Mod Podge booger there. That's what I call them, those little crusty things that come off of the edge of the jar. The reason it doesn't matter is because I'll top coat this whole thing with Mod Podge when I'm done. So you just need to make sure that you have enough Mod Podge, and this is a thick cardstock paper. You need to make sure you have enough so that your paper adheres, but it needs to be a thin coat, meaning you don't want to have gobs of it because it will make your paper roll, be bubbly. You'll have less luck. You'll have like more bubble. Now I'm going to use my brayer. I still can't find my little brayer. Oh, I know where it is. It's okay. I've got the big one. This just makes the paper or whatever, tissue paper, whatever you're using that you're putting into your glue, it makes it go down like really solid or really smooth finish, okay? That's what we got so far. And now I'm going to put my houses down below on the bottom. A little more Mod Podge. So it's just lots of layering. That's all it is. But it's super fun because you get to see how the colors and the papers all come together. And then we're going to stencil on top of this. There, we got some Mod Podge. We're going to put our little village on there. Is the village cut perfectly? No, it's kind of small. But let me say this, it's going to be sitting next to my tree that I just showed you that has the village showing really well. And maybe I'll come up with some other things that I can put alongside them with that same paper so that everything is really coordinated. Now, I always miss my edges, like my corners. I'm just bad at getting Mod Podge on those corners. I'm bad at it. I always have been. It's just a weakness. I go really skimpy on the corners because I don't want a big mess on the corners. And so then my corners don't stick. So I always have to go back in and reinforce my corners. Now, you reinforce the glue so that the paper stays down. And then once the whole project is done and once I have the stenciling on, I'll go over same exact thing. I'll take the Mod Podge and I'll go over the whole thing as a top coat on the whole project. So right now, this is what we got. Have you guys seen me do these before? I am a huge fan of palette boards and I'm a huge fan of decorating them and coming up with different color combinations. So I do this quite a bit on all kinds of sizes of these. Make sure you do your edges. Lindsay said that. Christina said it. Lindsay said yes, sir. You always miss your edges, always. Jenna wants to see my tree again. There's my tree with the houses. Okay. I did a tree with the snowflakes. And I did a tree with the stars. So all of these will sit on my mantle in like a little collection and they'll all be coordinated. How cute. This is so cute. I love it. Yeah, the brayer is a great way to smooth out the project. These brayer, it comes in 2 sizes. The other one is about half this size. I bought it to use with my gel plate, but I've been using it a lot on my Mod Podge projects. They're in my Amazon store. You can get whatever brayer you want, but I do really like this one. It has a nice lip here so that if your brayer is wet with paint, if you're using it with paint, you can sit it down and your surface, your board doesn't get wet, right? Instead of sitting it like that, it has that lip. I do really like it. Okay, now, 2 plain Jane for me. This is me. This is how I work, you guys. I'm going to put a little bit of the white paint. I'm going to do a whitewash over all of this so that, again, when I put my stencil, let me grab my stencil. You guys, I am so limited in space. So when I'm monkeying around trying to find everything, it's because I just have like a couple of feet here to work with. I'm going to put this actually, all this paper I'm not using underneath here. When I go to put my stencil on top with that dark green, I'm going to use this olive green, which really matches my papers really well. I want it to show up really well. I am going to whitewash the papers just a little bit so that they're a little more muted. So this is my Mod Podge brush. I'm going to put this aside because I don't need it right now. I'm going to grab my paintbrush and I'm going to need a shop towel because I'm going to grab my wet paintbrush. It's in my wet bucket here. I'm going to grab it. This is the one I use for the white, and I'm just going to get off some of that water. I'm going to go back to my white paint. I'm going to create a little bit of a white paint wash. Tiniest little bit of paint, spray bottle of water. I don't want to cover my paper. I want my paper to be seen. So I created just a thin watery paint here, and I don't need a lot, so I'm offloading a lot of it off of my brush. I'm just going to run this over the papers so they don't look so darn perfect, okay, and so that they're a little bit more muted. It's kind of like a dry brushing. Now my brush is kind of wet because I added that water to create the wash, so just be careful. You don't want to cover your paper so much that you can't see it. I just want to whitewash it. It's super, super incredibly subtle, you guys. But I think, in my opinion, I think it adds and it just kind of makes everything coordinated. Okay, so especially those stars, they're really dark on this paper. So by going over them with the whitewash, see right here, if I just see this star right here is really dark. If I just go over it a little bit, it just, you can even wipe it back with your finger. You're just trying to lighten them up. So you can still see them, but you're going to have a more muted background for your stencil, which is what you want to prep. More muted background. Okay, going to do the same thing. This is really actually very bright because of the snow and the light green and all that, and the houses are all white. But I'm going to do the same thing just so it's all coordinated. Okay. Again, I don't want the pretty paper to disappear. I just want to downplay it a little bit. And actually, now that my white is dry, I feel like I need a little more white there. My paint, I sanded it back a little. I went on a really light coat in the first place, so I am going to actually add a little more coverage of the white paint here. And now that I'm on it, so I just brightened that white up a little bit. Now that I'm on it, I actually may dry brush a little white over this gray. Again, the goal is to mute it a little bit, not to obscure it, not to make it disappear, but just to mute it a little bit. Okay, let's see. Let's test my paintbrush and see. I have too much paint. Too much paint on there. Taking a bit off. You can see right there, that's the first line that I did. It's too much. So I took a little bit back. And now I'm coming in and I'm just dry brushing some of that white. And actually with the snow scene, the white on top of the gray, it just kind of like, it's all looking coordinated now because it all has that same dry brush of white. And it's brightening up the background so that when I come in with my stencil, it's going to show up really well. Now I may come in, I think I'm going to come in and distress this whole thing when I'm done because I did the same thing to my trees and you'll see they'll all look the same. So that's what I got. What do you guys think? Think you can handle this project? You can. I think you can do this, especially these really little ones. And these little boards, I bought them in bulk and I have them available on my website, thecomfynestwithgrace.com. You can buy them individually. I bought them in bulk, so I have like 60 of them. You probably don't want to buy 60. But if you want to buy just one or two, you can get them off my website. Okay, time to stencil. Be the light. I think any of these little phrases would work on this, on top of here, but I like Be the Light. One of my favorite little songs, one of my favorite phrases is This Little Light of Mine, I'm Gonna Let It Shine. So I'm gonna use Be the Light. I gotta grab my stencil brush. So I'm gonna go with the little one. I do have my set here. These have been restocked and there are lots in stock. So go grab yours before the stock goes down. I know everybody's like, oh, I need stencil brushes. They're back in stock. Go grab them. They are the best stencil brushes. They got nice, smooth, rounded handle, really easy to hold. 4 different sizes of brushes. They really take up the paint really well, and they offload the paint really well. Okay, I need just a very little. I could probably even take it from the cap. So I'm gonna grab a bunch of paint. I'm gonna put it in another section here, okay? Now, when you're stenciling, you got your paint on here and it's just too much paint there. If you see anything glistening, see that glistening gobs of paint? That's too much, too much, too much, too much. What you want to do, you have, I call this my store. That's where I'm going to get more paint if I need it. Come to the dry section. This is my land of offload. And I'm going to work that paint up into my stencil brush bristles. And I want to do a dry brush. So you want to make sure that the paint goes up into the bristles evenly, and you want to make sure that you have dry. There's nothing glistening, there's no gobs, there's nothing dripping off of there. That's what you want when you come into stencil. Now I'm going to put this right in the middle, you guys. I think I'm going to put a straight dab in the middle. I don't tape things, you guys. And this is a 6x6. My board is a 6x6, so there's nothing to tape. I would have to tape around the edges, which I just don't normally tape, so it's not a big deal to me. Oh, and I hope this shows up really well. That's the goal. So I'm going to come in. I'm going to start with the word "the," which is on top of the stars. And I'm pouncing, stippling. You can also do the little circle thing if that's what you like. But before I do anything else, I'm holding this down really strongly with one hand. I'm going to hinge this up just so I can see if the color's showing through well. I want to see if what I'm doing is working. It's perfect. I'm excited. It's perfect. Okay, grabbing a little more paint, and we're just going to keep doing what I'm doing. These little stencils don't take very long. I got to get my little plate here. I'm going to the land of offload, notice. I'm not going into the store of paint. I'm coming into where I've already offloaded because there's still a lot of paint there. I don't need to grab from the big wet gobby store. I just need enough to load up, I should say, not re-wet, because you don't want it wet, but you're loading up your brush with more paint. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be so excited about how this is going to turn out. I have not started decorating for Christmas. Listen, I'll tell you a funny story here in a second, but I am just taking down my Halloween and my fall stuff. I love the fall decorating. I love Christmas equally, but they all seem to come and go so fast. Why? Why? So we've had our Christmas tree up for 2 years. That's the funny part. Listen, we got a pre-lit Christmas tree when we moved into this house. The other tree that we had was pre-lit, but it was too big. It was too big for this house and for our living room. So we went and got a little smaller one. And my husband loved it so much in the corner of the house, like in the corner of my living room, which has like a huge reclaimed lumber wall right as a backdrop for the tree. And we live in a wooded area. We live on Woodland Drive. And he loved it so much. He's like, just leave it up all year. We don't need to take it down. And he really likes the ambiance from the lights. And I had it on a timer so it would go on at 10 o'clock at night and shut off at like 2 in the morning or whatever. Now only the bottom part of the tree is lit up. All my pre-lit lights like stopped working. I don't know if because we had it up for 2 years now since we moved in this house, if we burnt out all the lights. So I only have one string on the bottom. It's the funniest looking tree. As much as we love it, we're either gonna have to restring it up with lights or we're gonna have to go get a new tree. I'm so bummed out because I really do like the tree. It has like sparkles on the greenery. It's so pretty. Sparkles and snow. Okay, that easy, girls. That easy. Look what we got. Look. So I want you to notice. Give me some thumbs up, some hearts if you like it. I'm going to cover up my paint and I'm going to show you something. I want you to notice the backdrop that I did with the papers, muting them out with a little bit of that dry brush of white, how it allows the green paint on the stenciling to show up really well. There's no competition there. The star of this show is the stenciling, be the light. The background, the other stuff is in the background. It's like the background singers. It's like the choral, the chorus or whatever, like in the background, right? they're meant to be there to complement, but not try to steal the show, right? They're just back there as the background. Okay, so that's the goal, but still I used the same papers as I have on my trees. So I'm gonna have this cute little ensemble that I can put them either together or closely together. And then I have this. This came from the same paper stack. I took a 12 by 12 paper piece and put it on the board. And so that can be somewhere in the room too, and it all matches and it all coordinates. Now, the one thing I haven't done yet that I'm gonna do to show you is I mentioned on all of these, I distressed with distress ink. I distressed the edges so they look a little bit worn out. Like, look at my trees. See, the edges are all brown. I did that with my distress pad. So my distressing pad. So let me do the same thing. And I did these ones live last night on my own page, The Comfy Nest with Grace. So you can go check that out. The live is sitting there at the top of my page. So I'll tell you more about the distress ink if you want to know. But I'm going to take these clean edges and we're going to muck them up. I call it mucking them up. So we're going to come in and we're going to add a little bit of this brown colored distress ink to just make it look like these have been up on the shelf for a while. And then on top of this, I can do my Mod Podge. And I'll show you, I Mod Podged, I top coated all of these twice last night after my live, but before I went to bed, I did top coat all of those. Oh, somebody's playing guitar. My son, he doesn't play very often anymore, but I like to hear him play. I really like the edges to be dark. It's like a little frame, and I like the corners to get darkened up so they look a little bit dirty and mucked up. Or it kind of reminds me of a frosty window, like your windows in the winter, how they get frost around the edges on the window pane parts. Okay, so see, we just mucked it up a little bit. I talk about this more in my live from last night, so you can go back to you can go to my page, thecomfynestwithgrace.com, and watch my live to see more about like the distress ink. I'll tell you all about that. But now, for real, they all really match because they all have that brown distressing on the edges. Okay, so you can take your stencil sets, the ones that you have. You can pick any phrase that's meaningful to you or to someone else if you're making a gift for somebody. And you can put together a collage with a paper stack and your stencil sets. Okay, cute little collage that came together. Okay, so this can hang up on the wall, or it can just be leaning up like on a wall, shelf behind it, like whatever you want. You have this whole collection of things that you can do together. Now, I did put, this doesn't have top coat on it yet. I'll just take my Mod Podge and seal over it. This and my trees all have 2 layers of matte Mod Podge on top, and it does have a sheen. It's not completely matte. You can see, if I hit the light just right, you can see it has a little bit of a sheen to it, but it's still matte and it seals my paper onto my project, which is going to be really important. So after you stencil, after this is completely dry, so I'll give this about an hour to dry, I'll come back with my Mod Podge and I'll seal my paper, seal my paint on top and my distress ink so that it doesn't budge, it doesn't get, you know, messed up. If I wipe it down with a wet rag because I'm dusting, it's going to stay in place. So what do you guys think? What do you think? What do you think? Amanda says sweet. I'm so glad you like it. Adorable. Love it all. I do too. I love the distressed look too. I really do, Jamie. Or Joyce, excuse me. Joyce, Jamie. Checked the fuse of the strands that are lighting. It could be that or a burned out bulb that needs to be replaced. Oh, Ellen, I have my boys try all of that. Oh, we've tried all of it. Thank you, Marsha. She says gorgeous. Yeah, the word pops more, Connie. Totally, you're totally right, because again, muted background that I created with the whitewash. And I chose really light colors so that dark color on top would really pop. You don't want your background to compete with your stenciling. The stenciling is the star of the show. Okay. All right, girls. I imagine Essential Stencil is going to pick some winners right now. If you're catching the replay, don't forget they're giving away a replay winner stencil set as well. So within 24 hours of this broadcast, If you make sure you comment replay if you're watching within 24 hours, and they will choose one winner from replay watchers to win a set of stencils. So check that out. If you want to come over and follow my page, The Comfy Nest with Grace, I would be so thrilled to have your company. You can join my free craft community called the Crafty Chicks Club. You'll find that on my page. Make sure that you get on the text alert system from Essential Stencils so that you know when the brand ambassadors go live. That way you can really benefit from all these demos and ideas, especially during Christmas when we're decorating so much and gift giving. All right, let's check it out. We got Judy Mantle. Here are our winners today. Judy Mantle, Judy Yule, and Nancy Loomis. Congratulations, ladies. You just won a set of stencils from Essential Stencil. So everybody, thanks to Essential Stencil for being so generous. Girls, you just need to email them at support@essentialstencil.com with your mailing address so they can send it to you. Deb, I mentioned the paper. I talked about it last night. I talked about it during my live, so you could go back there. And I also talked about it a little bit earlier. I got it from Michaels. It's a paper pack from Michaels. And I do talk about it more on my live last night. Lindsay, I'm so glad you love these projects. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. All right, you guys, I'm going to go check on my boys. They are here for school today. They're virtual school today. They're on the schedule. That means they're home today, schooling from home, and I can hear them making lunch. They're in there banging things around in the kitchen making lunch. So I'm going to go check on my boys. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day, guys. Bye.